Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Just top.
Breaking down the teams you're passionate about. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Back around it goes. Carlson waiting for it. He's got 2 goals tonight. Utah gets a handle. Schmaltz out for Keller at the empty net. He scores. Clayton Keller gets the hat trick and Utah's 7th goal of the night. 3 goals for the captain. It's his 3rd career hat trick, and there's a couple lids being tossed here at Rogers Arena.
Utah Mammoth, big one tonight. They take on Edmonton. Joining us now for his weekly conversation, he is the general manager of the Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong. Bill, you'd think that a 3-game road swing, coming back with 6 points, you would have created a little bit of space for yourself in the playoffs, but everybody's staying there right with you.
Yeah, everybody wants to make it close, you know. Yeah, it's one of those things where we played pretty well on the road and were able to get three huge wins, but didn't create a ton of separation, but enough that if we take care of business, we got a path to get in.
You know, those were 3 great games, starting off the win against the Kings. You start out the gate really well in that one, and then Seattle, you go down 2-1 and really close to being 3-1. That one goal was waved off, and then the offense picks up. And then at Vancouver, looks like you're on your way to a big victory. They make it close, and then you pull away late. But one thing that's in common with all of those is offense, and you had 19 goals in 3 games on the road. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's been, that's what I love about our squad. Maybe when we're in December, we don't come back, in that game against Seattle. But, we weren't deterred at all. You could just see the fight. We settled in and kind of played. I think there's a great confidence on our team that we can score. So I think that's a huge thing for our guys. They believe in themselves, and, they're going to have to beat a very, very good squad tonight down at the Delta Center against Edmonton. But it's I like where we're going. You can feel the confidence and the focus from the group.
How much of an uptick in or what do you attribute the uptick in the production on power plays to?
Well, I think for us, we've struggled on it during the course of the year. I think the group has come to realization, we got to shoot the puck. Once we start shooting that puck from all different areas, we send teams into a tailspin. And sometimes in a stubborn group, or guys that want to kind of do it their way, it takes a little while for them to come around. But I believe they've come around as a group, and they've found ways to put the puck in the net.
When you had those 4 days, so you play the game against the Kings, and then you have 4 days off before the game against Seattle, how beneficial in this tail end of the season where these games are crammed really close to each other and you have a stretch coming up at 4 of 6, but having that 4 days, how helpful was that for your squad?
It was, the problem was when you come off it, you're not very intense when you take the ice for the first bit. It took our group a little bit of time to kind of get our legs underneath us and get us back into that game-like intensity, because all year long we've played, game, day off, and you get into that rhythm and all of a sudden you have 4 days off. It kind of sends you for a little bit of a loop. But what I liked was the amount of rest our guys got. That'll pay dividends down here. Just remember we're trying to get into the playoffs, and our finish line is really our start line, and you got to have some energy, obviously, and some health as you get down to that point. So hopefully those days that we've accumulated, lately of rest will pay dividends at the end for us.
Your forwards being tested with some injuries. Hayton, McBain dealing with some stuff. Your depth, though, has stepped up well. Talk about those guys and how they've been able to handle stepping into some big roles.
Well, I think for us, we've got some young guys that can jump into the depths. We've got some older guys. You've got the, Liam O'Briens of the world, the Tanevs, the Kerfoots, the Yamamotos that are kind of in the Nick DeSimones. And, they're part of your team. They don't play every night, but they're a huge part of your team because when you do get banged up in injuries, they can come in and kind of hold that level of play against the best teams, and you need everybody during the course of the year. So it's tough for those guys. Sometimes it's not easy. They might go anywhere from 5 to 10 games and not play and then wait for their opportunity to get in, but they do a great job. They're consummate team players. And they give us that ability to have next man up, and that's an important part to have in your team. And right now, it's a huge part as we're banged up down the middle of the ice.
One thing that's really impressed me as I continue to learn and try to appreciate individual performances. Look, Cooley's going to get the love. Gunther's going to get the love. I think Sergachev on that blue line has been tremendous for you during this stretch.
Yeah, Sergey's a great D. He was a huge trade for us. I couldn't believe we actually pulled that one off because D-men like that at that age are really hard to find, and they're kind of they're your pillars of your team, and he's been just a huge part of our team and just anchors it back there 22, 23, 24, 25 minutes worth of ice time every single night, and you know what you're getting from him. And he's a genius defensively. I love the way that he adds into the offense from the power play too. So he's a big part of our team. He eats a lot of minutes.
Hey, when you look at a stat sheet after a game, how quickly do you look at winning faceoffs? Because it seems like that's something that you guys have been really good as of late.
Well, it comes and goes during the course of the season. We've had some young forwards, and, sometimes the linesmen, treat the younger guys a little bit different. They don't give them the jump start. So you go through some periods of time where they've got to kind of figure it out, and they've got to really work to kind of understand how to win that draw at crucial times of the game. Kevin Stenlund's probably one of the best in the business for us. He can dictate a game with his ability to win a draw. So it's a huge element of the game. And as your younger players get better at it, it's just, you're solidified from your first line to your fourth line. And it's taken the guys like Logan Cooley and Hayden a little bit of time to kind of get going in their career, but they've done a great job down the stretch here.
Edmonton's Edmonton. I mean, arguably the best player in the game, and watching him and his speed, his athleticism, everything he brings to the table. What do you guys have to bring tonight to try to get another W?
Well, he's tough to contain. I don't know if you can stop him completely, but you can have a great game plan and try and play a team defense and slow him down a little bit. And and the other thing you have to realize, the guys that are surrounded around him are workers. They're grinders. They're gonna fight to the death every single night. So they might not be the most talented group around him, but they're going to work. And we have to make sure that we not only play him well, but we got to know when he's on the ice, take care of business and put 5 in front of him and slow him down a little bit and see if we can create some other offense against the other lines.
Your offense, as we mentioned in the first part of the interview, it's just been absolutely clicking. How do you keep that hot hand going into the playoffs, where I think you've scored 4 goals or more in like 6 out of the last 7 games?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because you can see the guys get confidence, when that puck goes in for them. And Lawson Krause, you can see him snapping home the other night against Vancouver, but just, once they start scoring like that, there's a confidence that comes in, and they want the puck on their stick, and it's kind of a snowball effect that works in a positive way for your club. And right now we're hot, so our guys are feeling it. They want the puck. They want to take that shot. And for us tonight, what we didn't do against Edmonton the last time we played was shoot the puck. We got to shoot the puck against these guys. We got to put it on them. Like, to be honest, we haven't been very good against Edmonton. And, our top 6 forwards, have to step up and find ways to get it done. They've got a couple big D back there that have caused us some headaches. The Nurses of the world, the Murphys of the world, the Bouchards, and also the Ekholms. And we got to find our way around them tonight and put pucks and people at the net and create some offense. It's going to be a good challenge for us tonight to play against them.
No doubt. And looking ahead a little bit, you're in Calgary on Sunday. How emotional are those games for like Uyghur when you go back to a team that you played for a while?
Well, I think it's a lot of emotion that you have, and, they give you the salute on the scoreboard and thank you, and then the other team comes out and runs you. So it's rather a quick exit of loving your past there and moving on very quickly. I think it's an emotional trip for him, obviously, to go back there and go through the whole playing in Calgary. It's also good closure for him, and he's got a chance, to play for our team and help us get into the playoffs, and that'll be a huge game against them too.
All right, before we let you go, the dumb question of the interview is going to come courtesy of something my 14-year-old mentioned. We were watching the game the other night, and it was the second game, so the Seattle game, and there was like 5.5 minutes left, and the high stick call comes in and comes out with the double minor. And my son asked me, he's like, well, what's the double minor? I was explaining, well, you draw blood, you're going to get that extra 2 minutes. And he's like, well, you know what? If you bite your tongue enough, you could probably get a little bit of blood and show and maybe sell that thing a little bit. And I started laughing and I thought, well, wait a minute. Hockey guys, man, they're bleeding all over the place. I got to imagine they could probably sell a high sticking blood call. Have you ever heard of that? Or is that anything that's good that you've seen happen?
I mean, we're the only sport, I think, in the world that rewards a team for bleeding.
I know.
So it's kind of a unique feature that you get a penalty, and if you cut somebody with your stick, and they've done a better job over the course of the years of saying it's not just the blood. There has to be some form of injury. As you go down, there's got to be a little bit more of a wound there than just blood. So. They've got smarter over the years at it, but we do have a scout on our staff who did cut himself on purpose to get an extra penalty. That's a true story to win a championship. So he's kind of was a career minor leaguer and drew some extra minutes on the board and ended up winning a championship because of it. And his whole philosophy: if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
All right. So my 14-year-old, he stumbled onto something. Then this is a common thing, or at least has been in the past.
Common thing, yeah. This
I love
has
it.
been a common thing for sure. But I think it's not as barbaric maybe as it was back in the day, but it's certainly a thing. And sometimes you can see the guy bite his tongue a little harder just to get a little more blood out of there.
Well, and honestly too, I mean, the game was for the most part out of reach against Seattle. But if that's a 1-goal game and there's 5.5 minutes left and you got a 4-minute power play, I mean, that pretty much ends it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the thing that you worry when you're up 2 goals in this game is taking a 4-minute penalty and putting the other team back in the mix rather quickly. And there's one thing that changes a comeback pretty quick is if you take some bad penalties and the other allow the team to come back. It's a common thread. So it's really something we got to stay away from and be smart with your stick, but. For us, it was working in our favor in that game, so we didn't mind it.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us, Bill. Good luck tonight. It's always fun watching Edmonton on the ice, but go get that W. Get another couple points there.
That's great. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
You got it. There he is, Bill Armstrong. He is the general manager of the Utah Mammoth.